of March is not limited to the basketball court, as the postseason has also arrived for NCAA women's gymnastics. And today, from Rec Hall on the campus of Penn State University in University Park, PA, it's the Big Ten Championships on Fox Sports Net. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Schlanger alongside Wendy Wilkinson, and welcome to Happy Valley, where 7 teams have assembled here today to determine who is number 1 in the conference. And it's a day where seasons can be made or broken, but any way it breaks, Wendy, you have to figure that the competition will be close and very competitive because this is a very talent-rich conference.
That's right. Currently, there are 3 Big Ten teams ranked in the top 20. Michigan leads the way with their number 1 national ranking. However, Penn State, currently ranked number 15, they're peaking at the right time. They're looking to use the home court to their advantage. Also, Minnesota, they won this event 2 years ago, and they're currently ranked number 17.
Michigan is really the beacon in this conference. They're the pace setter this season. It's been a terrific year all around. They had a terrific decade of the 90s, and it really has just continued.
That's right. Michigan has used a total team effort for their success this year. They used 13 different athletes competing on each of the 4 events, which is more than most of the other teams are using. Also, Sarah Kane is an outstanding individual competitor. She has scored a 10.0 on the vault 2 times in the last 3 weeks, has also won most of the individual all-around titles she's competed in this year.
It's not just going to be a 3-horse race, however, here at Rec Hall, because other teams in this conference are peaking at just the right time.
That's exactly right. Michigan State, they're healthy this year. They had numerous injuries last year, and they are looking to make an impact at this year's championship. Also, Ohio State, they made a statement last weekend when they knocked off number 11th ranked Oklahoma. If they hit their routines, they can contend with anybody.
Well, it's also a conference of quality coaches, and we'll get their thoughts on going up against their colleagues here on the campus of Penn State. It's all when we come back here on Fox Sports Net. Well, this is the structure for the meet today. There will be 7 rotations altogether. The vault, the bars, the beam, and floor. Michigan comes in, of course, as the defending champion. And with 7 schools and only 4 events, if you do the math, you know that 3 schools have to sit out at all times. As we begin in the first rotation, Illinois will be on the vault. Ohio State occupies the bars. The beam belongs to Michigan State, and Iowa will be on the floor. That means that Michigan, Minnesota, and Penn State will all have byes through the first rotation. Ironically, those are the 3 teams that are ranked in the top 20, but that's purely by coincidence that they all begin with byes.
That's right. The coaches do a draw after the conclusion of each championship, and they draw for which event they're going to start on the next year. And it always, there's some favorite events that the coaches like to start on. We're showing the vaults here, and that's particularly one event that most coaches like to start on.
And this is the University of Illinois.
That was a handspring front tuck with a slight knee bend on the pre-flight, but she's going to work on that to try to get a better second vault.
Fighting Illini never have been really good on the vault. They've improved this season, but not traditionally a strong vault school.
That's right. They have been struggling on this event. They've put in some extra work on that event, and Bob Starkell really feels that this may be one of their strengths in the near future. Bob
Starkell, a former assistant in his first year as the head coach for the Fighting Illini, coming in with a record of 7-10 on the season.
Right, he's really done some positive things for this program. He attributes his success so far this season to the team. Most of the coaches have 2 full-time assistants. He has 2 part-time assistants, so he's really done a tremendous job.
Over on the bars now.
You see the athletes putting chalk on their hands, and they also have the grips. The grips is to protect their hand from blisters and also to help them stick to the bars a little bit better. The chalk also helps with their grip.
And we quickly move to the floor exercise. There we find Iowa, and now we shift back to the vaults. Illinois once again. And here are the Lady Hawkeyes on the floor once more.
This is a chance for the gymnasts to really express themselves and to have their personalities come out. Should have front handspring and then a layout front and then another layout front. You'll see a lot of the gymnasts using more of the forward tumbling because they find that they can get bonus from that type of tumbling. So it may look a little bit easier, but they are still getting great deal of points.
Wendy, the floor exercise seems to generate the most enthusiasm from the gymnasts and the fans. Do teams like to start on the floor first? Is that somewhat of an advantage?
Yes, it is. Most of these gymnasts have a lot of adrenaline coming into this competition, and this is an event where they can go out and use that adrenaline to their advantage. Also, with the music, the gymnasts really try to pick floor music that they like, that suits their personality. So I think that if you had a choice, floor is a great event to start on.
Iowa coming in, ranked 7th in the Big Ten. But now over to the vault.
There was a handspring front tuck with a half. That vault is out of a 9.90. Each of the gymnasts has to flash a number which indicates what vault they are going to perform, and that gives the judges an idea of what to watch for.
And each gymnast does get 2 vaults, and the better of the 2 is the one that'll count.
That's exactly right. They do go twice, and usually if you have a solid vault on the first attempt, you'll try to just really nail that landing on the second one.
And for the first time, we see Michigan State on the balance beam.
I would say this is probably the most difficult event to start on. I talked a little bit about the adrenaline before. This event, it's only 4 inches wide, the balance beam is, and once it's competition time, sometimes it feels like it's even smaller than that.
And many times the beam will be the great barometer for who will do the best in a particular meet, because most schools count the beam as their weakest event. So if they can do fairly well there, then usually that team is going to come away as the winner.
That's right. You'll hear many say that the winner of the beam is going to end up being the winner of the meet. And most times it does turn out to be true, just because there's such a small margin for error on this event. Looking very solid up there.
Michigan State, as we mentioned earlier, one of the hottest schools coming in. They've recorded their 3 best team scores of the season in their last 3 meets, so carrying a lot of momentum and thus bringing confidence in to the conference championships today.
And Lindsay looks like she's getting set for her dismount here. That's a back handspring, another back handspring, and a full twist dismount. They are going to be so happy to have that be their leadoff routine. That gives them some momentum, and they'll try to build upon that solid score.
Now Karen Hawley on the vaults for the University of Illinois.
That's a handspring front in a tuck position. She nailed that one.
And we stay with the vault competition.
And sometimes if you're happy with the score you get on the first vault, often you'll try to do a more difficult vault. The vault that Hawley just performed is only worth a 9.8, so she may try to upgrade her difficulty a little bit to see if she can have an even better second vault.
I guess just like in any sport, no matter what you do, if you begin with a good, clean routine your first time out, it sort of gets rid of the nerves, it develops some confidence, and it also inspires the rest of your teammates.
Exactly. That first competitor up is so important. It really sets the stage for the remainder. Got a nice bar routine going here. It was a shoot over to handstand. You see her put her feet on the bars, on the low bar. You are allowed to do that once. If you do it a second time, they will take a half-tenth deduction.
These are the Ohio State Buckeyes, by the way, on the bars.
She stuck her landing. That was a great routine. Ohio State is the type of team who does a lot of difficulty, and they've been a little bit inconsistent, but if they can make those difficult skills, they're going to be right up there.
And back to Illinois, Carissa Erickson from the University of Illinois, up next on the vaults.
She does a handspring, pike, a little bit of trouble on the landing. The judges are really looking for height and distance away from the horse, and I think if she could get a little bit more height, that would have helped out her landing.
And Michigan State, once again on the balance beam.
It's a switch side leap. On the beam, the judges are really looking for amplitude on those leaps.
Isn't it true, Wendy, that many schools feel that practicing on the beam is so much different than actually competing?
That's exactly right. The coaches try so many different things in the gym to try to simulate a competitive atmosphere, and for some reason, when you compete beam, it just still often feels different. But That's something these teams have really concentrated on. The end of that routine was a really great one, so it's just such a tough event to compete.
Clean dismount. And the beam, I suppose, can work both ways. You don't necessarily like to start on it because it is so difficult, but if you do well, boy, does that really boost your energy going into the other rotations.
Exactly. It's nice to have it out of the way if it's a solid event.
Over to the floor now, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Well, last year the Lady Hawkeyes suffered injuries to their two best gymnasts. They have some good freshmen this year and really building towards the future. Also a solid recruiting class in the top 5. So Michael Lorenzen, in his first year as the head coach from the Cincinnati Gymnastics Academy, is trying to build a very strong gymnastics program there in Iowa City.
Exactly. Iowa struggled last year. They were not even able to field a full team at this championship last year. So Mike Lorenzen has really been trying to start from the bottom, get the basics down pat, and build on that. And he's done just a great job. That's another example of the front tumbling. That was a front layout into immediate front tuck.
Iowa is last in the Big Ten. However, they did have their best team score of the year last week, closing out the season, losing at Nebraska.
That's right. And this is Julie Matolo. This is one of her favorite exercises. She likes to get out there and perform. She's setting up for her last tumbling pass here. And that is a double full. Makes the landing.
Seems happy with the routine.
She does. That was a nice routine for Iowa.
And the University of Illinois on the vaults.
This is Phaedra Dixon. That was a handspring front pike. She is one of their top gymnasts. She has been just an excellent competitor this year, and she is one of their captains.
She is, in fact, the all-around school record holder, a 5'4" junior out of Chicago.
The great thing about Phaedra is she's always had the skills, but she's had some problems with execution, and she's really worked on that over the past 2 years.
And she'll get one more crack at the vault.
That might have been her second vault, or maybe she opted not to do a second one.
There is the option of not doing a second vault. If you're happy with the first, why go ahead and take the second if you know you got a good score?
Exactly. Many of these gymnasts just have so many nagging injuries that another vault is just another injury waiting to happen. You see the mat there in the corner. There's no deduction to have that the mat there. That is to again soften the landing and hopefully avoid any injuries. You do have to mark where the floor exercise would be, because if you do step out of bounds, it is a 1/10 deduction.
These are the Iowa Hawkeyes again on the floor. Let's go back to the bars, though. Ohio State, the Buckeyes.
The giant full. Shoot over handstand. And set for her dismount. Wow. Too bad about the fall on the dismount. That is the most difficult dismount you will see here today. That is a full and back out in a layout position. It is an E move. There are 5 different levels, A being the easiest and E being the most difficult. And again, you have to hand it to Ohio State for really taking the risks in trying to get to B.
Once again, a second look at the dismounts, or perhaps we will let you just have the one and savor the memory instead of taking a second look. But coming up just a bit short. So we teased you. In fact, we do have the dismount once again, and this is how it looked.
Get the momentum going here on the Giants. It's a little bit short.
Coming up a bit short. How much would that affect a gymnast going into another event? Do they think about that, or is one event put away in the back of their minds as they move around the floor?
That's something the coaches really try to work on. A great gymnast and a great team will leave mistakes on the event where it occurred, and they will start fresh on the next event. So we'll see if they're able to be successful in doing so.
The Lady Spartans on the beam once more.
straddle jump, back handspring layout. Again, you'll see many connections with both leaps and leaps to skill elements. This is Polly Kiker. She, along with fellow teammate Melissa Green, is one of their strongest athletes and somebody that Kathy Plagas is so happy to have on her team.
She's been an all Big Ten selection this season, a 5'2" senior from Colorado, and a good dismount.
And a nice dismount. Typically on the events, you want to start with somebody that you are really confident in and then build on those scores. So usually you put up your strongest athlete right at the end.
And this is how it looks. Polly once again from the beam.
She does the round off into a double full and fights for that landing. That's what the judges want to see.
Sort of like in baseball, you arrange the lineup to suit your strengths, and that's what they do in gymnastics, putting out the stronger gymnast first, right?
Well, you put a consistent gymnast first, as opposed to necessarily your strongest. You really want to start off with a gymnast who's going to hit, and then you really want to have the potential for your highest score be right at the end.
The Lady Hawkeyes on the floor exercise.
She comes. This is Melissa Green, another example of the forward tumbling. Leap combination. Again, the judges are looking for that.
And now on the balance beam, the Michigan State Spartans.
And this is Melissa Green here on the balance beam. Here comes her gymnastics series coming up. Handspring layout. Disappointing break from Melissa, not only for the team, but she's also a contender for the all-around title. She's going to want to regain her composure here, forget that happened, and really concentrate on finishing strong.
She has the second best mark in the all-around in Michigan State school history. That's a long climb when you fall off that beam and have to get back on, a climb no gymnast wants to make.
Exactly. You have 30 seconds to get back on the beam, and different athletes handle that different ways. Some try to jump right back up to keep their momentum going, and others try to really collect themselves. Nice straddle jump to a wolf jump. The beam routine, along with the other routines, actually start out of a 9.5, and then you have the chance to earn 5/10 worth of bonus, and we'll talk about the bonus a little bit more later. Tuck front full dismount. Disappointing break, but again, I want to put that one behind them and focus on their next event.
Melissa Green, the 5'4" junior, was 7th in regionals a year ago.
Again, it's just an example of how difficult the beam is, and just to start on the beam just makes it even more difficult.
And another glance at how she cleared the beam.
The punch front with a full twist dismount. She finished strong.
She looks on with her teammates as the Spartans continue to compete on the beam here in this first rotation.
Exactly, and this is when the coach reminds them that it's a team effort. There are 6 girls that go up on each event. Only 5 of the scores count, so if one gymnast makes a mistake, the others are there to pick up the slack.
Hometown girl from East Lansing. And we take you back to the floor where the Lady Hawkeyes continue to compete.
Exactly, the floor is a lot of fun, and Iowa seems to be a team that really gets along well and has a good time out there.
Meanwhile, the University of Illinois has completed the vaults with a team score of 48.45. So 48.45, the average score for the Illini.
And that's a good start for them. Again, vaulting is a difficult event for them, and that's quite an acceptable score for them.
And an enthusiastic response from her teammates. Helps so much to have everybody behind you. This is a sport of a lot of support and encouragement from teammates. You need that all around, not just from the coaches, but also from your fellow gymnasts.
Right, and that's what makes college gymnastics so exciting. Most of these athletes have come from the club system, which means that you're really competing for yourself. You never get that sense of team, and that's the first thing that you'll hear most of these student athletes say is that their favorite thing is the team concept.
All right, we've completed the first rotation here on the campus of Penn State University. We'll step aside, and when we come back, rotation number 2. That's when we continue from Rec Hall on Fox Sports Net. Steve Schlanger, Wendy Wilkinson here at Rec Hall on the campus of Penn State University for the Big Ten Women's Gymnastics Championships. We move into our second rotation, and for this rotation, Iowa, Illinois, and Michigan State will all have byes, and we will get our first look at number 1 Michigan as well as Minnesota and Penn State, the 3 ranked teams in the top 20 in the nation. They will be competing for the first time in rotation number 2.
That's right, and to start on a bye really is normally an advantage. Typically the scores are a little bit low on the first event. Judges get a little bit nervous about throwing out some high scores and when they don't know what is yet to come. So typically the scores are a little bit lower on the first event, and you know, as an athlete, being able to sit out during a bye on that first event kind of lets you focus on the task at hand and, you know, calm down a little bit.
And before we went to break, we mentioned the score for the University of Illinois on the vault. Also on the beam for Michigan State, they wound up with a team score of 47.27, and on the bars, Ohio State with a team score of 48.47.
It's a good score for Ohio State. Michigan State is going to be disappointed with that score on the beam.
Penn State on the floor. The Lady Nittany Lions, the host for the Big Ten Championships, and competing for the first time as they take to the floor with the largest contingent in the crowd, as you might expect, here to cheer them on.
And this is Leslie Blair. She is a freshman, and she is so exciting to watch.
This is such a balanced team in Penn State. It's a balance of youth and experience.
That's right. Coach Steve Shepard mentioned that yesterday, that this is really a team effort for them. They don't rely on just one girl, but rather every member of the team.
They have a record of 8-2 and ranked 16th in the nation, but believe it or not, Steve Shepard says that they're just on the verge of peaking. He believes that they haven't had their best meet yet.
Exactly. They have normally had to count 1 or 2 falls in the event, and a fall being a 5/10 deduction, that can really bring down your overall team score. So they're really going to try to go out and hit all of their routines so they don't need to count on falls tonight. Front handspring, front layout, front pike. That is an example of a Popanova. That is a D element. Again, it doesn't look that hard because it's a jump, but a D is the second hardest move you can do.
She's happy, and so is the crowd, and now Michigan on the vaults, and a good one.
That was a tuck front half. She had a slight knee bend off the horse, but again, that's out of a 9-9, and it was fairly well done.
The Lady Wolverines, number 1 in the country with a 16-5 overall record. They're perfect in Big Ten competition this season.
Punch front half. You could see the knee separation there off the horse. She'll be trying in the future to get those knees just a little bit tighter together.
The team is ranked number 1 on the vault, and that's been their best event lately. And now we move over to the bars and the University of Minnesota, the Lady Golden Gophers.
It's the coach down there. He is there for safety reasons. If the gymnast makes a severe error, oh, I'm in a little bit of trouble there.
Bridget Knabel on the vault moments ago with a 9-7.
Double back dismount. She struggled a little bit on the bar routine. She managed to keep going and avoid an even more major error, so everyone's really going to try to pick up and have a stronger routine so they don't need to count that one.
She gets a hug of encouragement from coach and teammate. And Leslie Bear with a 9.8.
That's a great start for Penn State on the floor exercise.
And now Ohio State's on the balance beam. In the first rotation on the uneven bars, and now they move to the most difficult event, the beam, and see what they can accomplish here.
It's a front tuck mount. That's an extremely difficult mount. This is Sherry Gregg. She is a freshman, and that's somewhat surprising to put up somebody with not too much experience at this level just because of the magnitude of this competition.
Probably because the beam is her best event. You can't say that about a lot of gymnasts, but for Sherry, coming in as a freshman from Newark, Ohio, this is her strong suit.
That was a back handspring layout there. Very well done.
The Buckeyes are very well-rounded in most events. I mean, they have a very balanced team and have gymnasts as she tries to hang on and does so.
She did. She fought for that landing. If you fall off the beam, it's a 5/10 deduction, but even if you have a major wobble, the judges will not take more than 3/10, and normally will take closer just to 2/10.
Just to finish the thought, head coach Larry Cox feels that he has enough good gymnasts in the various events to throw some quality gymnasts out there on each event and feel confident that he's going to get some good scores.
Exactly. They really do have a great deal of depth on each of the events, and that's something that not all the coaches have the luxury of, so Coach Larry Cox is extremely pleased about that. Again, this is Sherry's strongest event. However, it's championship time. You've got the jitters, and I'm still really surprised that they opted to put a freshman up there so early. And the full twist dismount.
She looks mildly satisfied with that.
Right, it's a little bit relieved almost that it's over.
As a gymnast, Wendy, are you ever fully satisfied? I know there are perfect 10s from the judges, but personally, are you ever fully satisfied with your performance?
No, I'd say there's always something that these gymnasts feel that they could improve on. Even if the judges didn't catch it, you usually know what it takes and what you want to do. So, no, they're usually striving for even more.
Back to Michigan on the vault. But we'll go back to the floor momentarily. And the Penn State Lady Lions. This is Nikki Smith, the 5'4" senior out of Miraloma, California, set to begin her floor exercise.
Nikki is such a treat to watch on the floor. She has a really fun routine and is a crowd pleaser on this event.
She has the second best score in school history on the floor. The second team All-American from last season.
She has such a great combination of tumbling and dance. Watch this first tumbling pass. This again is one of the most difficult tumbling passes that you'll ever see, and I believe she's the only one doing it in the meet. Her teammate
The applause, they knew she stuck it that time.
Yes, that was a great routine.
Nikki Smith on the floor for Penn State moments ago, a 9.85. And we continue on the vault with Michigan.
That was a great vault for Chrissy Machad. This is the only event she competes, and it's her strongest.
Michigan does have a lot of specialists on their team, and we'll take another look at this vault.
This is a Sukahara in the laid-out position with a full twist. It's out of a 10.0. Great vault. We'll see if the judges deduct for not quite a stuck landing. She kind of tried to just move right out of it.
Part of the reason Michigan is so fluent as a team, they do have a lot of specialists concentrating on individual events. I know all around is the glamour event, Wendy, but how much does it help a gymnast just to be able to focus on one particular event and just practice every day at it?
I think it really does help. You really get to refine your skills and just really work on your strengths, and I think that's an advantage. It used to be a requirement to have 2 all-arounders, and the NCAA has since done away with that requirement.
Penn State on the floor exercise.
And that's a double full.
And now back to Michigan on the beam. Excuse me, the vault. Quickly, while we wait to the bars, it's Minnesota. This is Judy Cavazos, the 5'4" senior out of Monterrey, Mexico.
She has been just such a great contributor to Minnesota's team. Getting set for the dismount here. Front with a half. Minnesota really recovered well from that mistake earlier on in the lineup, and that's really a testimony to a great team.
Judy Cavazos, a second-team All-American on the bars in '97, now to Michigan and the vault. This is Sarah Kane.
Little step there. Sarah does an example of the Yurchenko vault, which means you do a round up onto the horse. She then does a laid-out Phelps, which is...
Take another glance at Sarah Kane, the #2 gymnast in the nation.
This is such an impressive vault. Here she goes with a round-off entry. She does a half-turn front layout. And that's so difficult because it's a blind landing. You don't see the floor coming until you're actually on it.
Now, how good is she? She's #1 in the Big Ten in all events, and she recently had a pair of perfect 10s on the vaults.
That's right. 2 and 3 weeks ago, she scored a perfect 10. But again, she is such a balanced gymnast. You really can't point out what her best event is just because she is such a phenomenal student athlete. Here she goes. She's going to try to stick the landing this time. Smaller step. I think that was a little bit better. We'll see what the judges think.
It's worth noting that Sarah Kane needs 4 individual titles here today to move into second place on Michigan's all-time list. Currently, she's in 4th. And here it is again, vault #2 for Sarah Kane.
Watch the height she gets in the perfect form. Just a small little step.
Carrying so much momentum the way she was over the vaults, very difficult not to take that step to slow yourself down.
Exactly. She's so powerful and so explosive that it's hard to stop that momentum.
And on the beam, it's the Ohio State Lady Buckeyes. Sarah Kane, meanwhile, on the vault, a 9.9. So the judge is very happy, although she had that small step, a 9.9 for Sarah Kane.
Elizabeth here on the beam, she's a senior for Ohio State, and she's been one of their strongest competitors over the last 4 years.
She's an all Big Ten selection from a year ago. The beam, along with the uneven parallel bars, her 2 best events.
And if I can spring layout right on. To have the girl before her go up and make a mistake, for her to just be able to block that out is such a sign of a true competitor. You see her down low on the beam. The judges want to see you down on the beam. They want to see you sideways. They sort of want to see you in every which way on the balance beam.
We talk about blocking that out before, Wendy. It's hard to find a sport that combines such a demanding regimen both physically and mentally as gymnastics.
That's right. All the while, they're trying to make it look like it's effortless.
Mm-hmm. And of course it is, right?
Right. She does. Oh, and she does a great dismount. That was an extremely strong routine.
Elizabeth Jensen, the senior from nearby Naperville, Illinois.
A great routine. What a way to go out as a senior.
Here's the dismount once again, a very clean one.
It's a front layout in a full position, and she fights for that landing. Again, I can't stress those landings enough. Judges really want to see those stuffed landings, no extra steps or little hops.
And now she turns to encouraging her teammates, and we turn to the floor where Penn State continues to exhibit their skills.
Heather Dugan is a senior for Penn State, and this is her favorite event and just has so much fun out there.
Heather, obviously a big Ricky Martin fan.
Yes, she is.
Ricky, who, by the way, will be in State College, Pennsylvania in June performing at the Bryce Jordan Center, if you happen to care.
That's right. She just did a triple full. Again, you will not see many of those today as it is an E element. She's another example of a gymnast who has both the dance and the tumbling down pat.
Really one of her strong suits, the floor exercise. Battling back from a shoulder injury earlier in her career. It's one of those nagging injuries that stuck with her for a while, and for a gymnast, it's really hard to shake completely.
Yes, it is, and you're not seeing any effects of that injury here today, as she just did a beautiful double pike. Nice straddle jump into a Popanova. Just gonna get set for her last tumbling pass here. So front tuck to a double twist. You can see her excitement out there. She really has nailed this routine.
Heather Dugan, the 5'1" senior from Mount Sinai, Pennsylvania, a very clean floor exercise. The crowd responds, and she knows how well she just did.
Exactly. It's such an emotional time. It's a senior. It's the last time competing in your home event, and to do such a great routine has just got to feel really good.
And the Lady Lions off to a good start here on their home floor, Rec Hall in University Park. And that will complete the second rotation here at Rec Hall. We'll get set for rotation number 3 as Heather Dugan grabs her breath and waits for her score as she checks things out.
Exactly. Penn State's off to an extremely strong start. That's what they were hoping for.
2 rotations in the books. We have 5 more to go here at the Big Ten Women's Gymnastics Championship at Penn State University. More to come here on Fox Sports Net. Stay with us from Pennsylvania. It's the Women's Gymnastics Championships for the Big Ten here in central Pennsylvania. 3 rotations complete. We get set to move to the 4th here on a Saturday night on the campus of Penn State University. Some good performances so far through the first 3 rounds as the gymnasts continue to warm up. Coming up in this 4th rotation, the byes will belong to Minnesota, Iowa, and Michigan State. You see Michigan, the #1 team in the nation, warming up, getting set to perform on the uneven parallel bars. We'll also have Illinois on the beam. Penn State will be on the vault, and Ohio State will be on the floor exercise.
Michigan had a little bit of problem there in the warm-up. We'll see if they're able to regroup, forget about those errors, and hit their routines.
Good crowd here at Rec Hall. Built way back in 1929, a very historic venue for gymnastics, as we see Illinois on the balance beam. Rec Hall has seen 4 Olympic trials, 15 international meets, 6 national collegiate gymnastics championships. So one of the more storied venues for gymnastics you'll find in the country right here in University Park, Pennsylvania.
That was a disappointing break for Carmela Fernandez. She is a senior. Again, Coach Bob Starkel is choosing to start off with a senior, hoping that they will be able to be consistent and use the experience to their advantage. But she had a break. She's going to try to finish up strong.
Bob Starkel does believe that the beam is the strongest event right now for the University of Illinois.
which again is so impressive about their team. They only have the 2 part-time assistant coaches. This is an event that takes so much work. So to be able to be so strong on this event with not the full-time coaches is really a tribute to the kind of attitudes they have on this team. Three-quarter straddle jump. And a gainer full dismount makes the dismount.
Seems like a tough move because you don't get that running start. You have to use that energy to just propel yourself.
Yes, it is a difficult dismount, but she managed to do it very well.
And moments ago, Nikki Smith on the vault for Penn State.
That's a front with a half with a great landing. That's out of a 9.9. She is excited about that one.
The rest of the University of Illinois team looking on. And now Ohio State on the floor exercise.
Some front tumbling there. Strong finish. That was Jill McMillan. She's a senior and was happy with that routine.
Now we move to the uneven parallel bars. It's the University of Michigan.
Now the first girl, Katie Nellens, had a break, so these next 5 competitors are really going to want to hit their routines. This is Amy Kazera. She's a sophomore. Nice finger. Amy's a great example. Last year's senior class was so strong that the freshmen didn't get a chance to compete much, so she really worked hard to make her way into that lineup. What a routine for Amy.
This is a very young Michigan team, but it's one of the best they've ever had as Penn State again on the vault with another good one.
That was Katie McAvoy with a Yurchenko in the laid out position. Very well done.
And back to the Lady Wolverines.
Here's another look at the vault. There it is, a laid out Yurchenko vault. Now that was only out of a 9.80. A little bit of a mistake there on the floor. That vault that Katie did was only out of a 9.8. She did it very well. We'll see if she goes with something a little bit more difficult on her second vault.
Back with the Lady Buckeyes now on the floor, one of their strongest events.
This is Sarah Spring.
The Lady Buckeyes, 5-time Big Ten champions. All of those championships came in consecutive seasons in the mid-'80s from 1983 to 87. They placed 3rd last year. And looking for a strong finish coming off a huge upset of number 11 Oklahoma in their home finale last Saturday.
Exactly. They're looking to build on that momentum, have a great performance here tonight, and then carry it into regionals and hopefully on to nationals.
The loss for Oklahoma was only their 2nd of the season, and the score for Ohio State was their 7th highest this year. Can't ask for much more momentum than that.
Absolutely not. That was a double full. We see the score for Amy Kazar on the bars. She got a 9.825. Solid routine for Michigan.
And she walks away.
She looks happy with that one.
And now back to the vaults. Here's Penn State, and a good one.
That was a front handspring in the pike position. She bent her knees a little bit earlier than the judges would like to see. They want to really see that nice extended line. We'll see it in slow motion, and you'll see the knee bend. This is Leslie Bear. Freshman, you could see the knee bend there, but what a great landing. Overall, it's a very good vault.
How difficult is it to keep the legs straight when you're trying to elevate like that and propel yourself off the beam? In the meantime, we take a look at the team scores after 3 rotations, and the Lady Golden Gophers of Minnesota with the lead overall. And the big thing you notice there, Michigan, number 1 in the country, coming in only at number 6 so far.
And you can see that they have done one less event than most of the other competitors, so we really won't get a feel for where they stand until they have another event under another routine under their belt. The last girl up for Michigan got a 9.925. They're going to try to finish up strong here on the bars as Penn State tries to finish up strong on the vault, and Illinois on the beam and Ohio State on the floor.
Ohio State waiting for their next competitor to take the floor as you look down from overhead here at Rec Hall, and now the Lady Buckeyes continue with the floor exercise. Ranked 18th nationally on the floor, consistently strong on this exercise.
Little step out of bounds there. If you step out of bounds, that is a 1/10 deduction. This is Stephanie Burkell. She was also a Gymnast of the Week for the Big Ten earlier this season.
And more of a classical piece of music that she's performing to. How much goes into the choice of music? Because you see a lot of gymnasts that just go all out with the fully energized type of music, and you see her starting with a slower routine.
Right, they really try to pick something that suits their personality, and the coach and the athlete works together to get something that they both feel suits them. And this, she's doing a great job here on this floor routine. She's got clearly some dance background, so she's using that to her advantage. Front handspring, front layout, front tuck. Very well done. Music gets a little bit faster.
And a colorful finish.
Nice routine for Stephanie.
Katie Rowland now on the vault for Penn State, the host school.
She's another one of their freshmen. Handspring pike front, very, very well done. That's out of a 9.9. Great vault for Katie. She's been having some back problems this year, so I'm sure she's happy to have that one out of the way.
She has excelled on the vault lately. She's won the vault in 5 of her 6 meets recently, so Katie Rowland really has been strong and on a consistent basis for the Lady Lions. Ranked 20th nationally on the vaults.
Here's Heather Dugan. She has such an explosive vault. She does a soup layout with a full twist, and it's very well done.
She counts this as one of her best events along with the floor.
Here she goes. Half on layout, full twist. Small hop on the landing, but a great vault. Here's Sarah Kane on the uneven bars, ranked first in the conference on this event. Reverse hecht. Look at her beautiful form. Her toes are pointed, her legs are always straight. Pike Jaeger, that's again an example of an E element. She had an extra kip there. We'll see if the coaches take a deduction. She looked like she was supposed to go right over the low bar. She regains her momentum here. Double layout, dismount, small hop. Great routine. We'll see what they do with that extra kip. Could be a small deduction, but she avoided a major break.
The very decorated senior from Grand Island, Nebraska. Wendy, how much do her teammates look to a gymnast like Sarah for inspiration and encouragement as we move back to Heather Dugan, another vault for Penn State?
Again, just a small hop there on the landing. Extremely difficult vault. Very well done. Michigan's teammates really do look to Sarah for leadership, both in the gym and in the competition. Here's another example of Sarah. Beautiful form. Giant. Watch this dismount. It's a double layout. E element. Stretch position. Looks to landing. Small little hop.
Does that add an extra element of pressure to Sarah? Because if she has an off night on a particular event, or maybe even all around, does that discourage her teammates? Do they maybe rely on her too much at times?
At times it's possible, but again, one of the strengths about Michigan is that they have 13 different competitors. They really try to balance it out and not put it on one person, but I'm sure Sarah does feel a little bit
Sarah
a little
Kane
bit of
and
added pressure.
Sarah, by the way, excuse me, a 9-9 on the bars. Meanwhile, Gemma Cuff on the vaults.
Pike front with a half. That's out of a 9.9. Very well done. Again, she's going to be looking for just a little bit more of a stuck landing. Gemma Cuff has been one of Penn State's really strong performers throughout her career.
She is the school record holder on this event.
Pike front with a half. Small little step there. She'll try to nail that landing.
As she gets set to go again. Gemma, not exactly a local, from Loughborough, England. She's made the transatlantic voyage to perform here at Penn State.
Yes, she has, and what a great job she has done. You can see her teammates in the background trying to give her some momentum. Pike front with a half. About the same as the last one. Great, great vault. Small step on the landing. We'll see what the judges do.
And over to the floor in the Ohio State Lady Buckeyes.
2.5 twist. This is Jana Gallagher. She is a freshman. Looks like she also is having fun out there. Front layout into a front full. Very difficult pass. The gymnasts are required to do at least 2 tumbling passes. Most of them choose to do 3, but again, you only need to do 2. But you must have 3 different saltos in those 2 tumbling passes.
Gemma Cuff, a 9.85 on the vault moments ago for Penn State.
This is actually Jill Tucker on the floor exercise. She's a sophomore.
Jill actually tied for first in the floor exercise when Ohio State performed here at Rec Hall against Penn State back in February. So she knows this facility well.
Yes, she does. Front full, immediate punch front. Great landing. Strong ending there.
Her teammates happy. Jill Tucker, a very consistent performer. She's been a nice surprise for Ohio State this season. An all Big Ten selection last year.
Yes, she has, and their enthusiasm is great to see. They look really excited about their performance here on the floor exercise. They'll await her score. I think that was the last. Oh, no, we got someone on base still.
And we're almost finished with rotation number 4. And now Lindsay Vagadez for the Ohio State Lady Buckeyes set to take the floor.
Can't say much enough about Lindsay. She is such an intense competitor. Larry Cox says she competes the exact same way she does in the gym, just with so much intensity.
She's coming here with confidence. She tied the school record on the floor last week against Oklahoma.
She finished second in the all-around last year, so she really is in contention for an all-around title this year.
Boy, and how consistent has she been? She's won at least one event in all but one of Ohio State's meets this season.
Unbelievable. Triple full. Very well done. She got great elevation on that skill. Almost looked like she just dropped onto the ground there.
Only 2 events still going on here in rotation number 4. It's Ohio State's on the floor and also Illinois on the balance beam. Michigan and Penn State have wrapped up with the bars and the vault respectively.
Front handspring, front full, front layout, very difficult. We talked a little bit about bonus earlier. She'll get a 1/10. She'll get 1/10 for the front full because it's a D element, plus another 10 for connecting it to another skill being the front layout. So she'll get 2/10 bonus for that pass alone. And again, they're looking to earn 5/10 worth of bonus to make their routines out of a 10.0. Front full, front tuck.
Lindsay Vagadez, the junior out of Warrenville, Illinois, one of only two-time All-Americans in school history. And now Illinois on the balance beam.
A round off bow with a good landing. Nice end to the beam routine. That was Gina Weichman. She's won this event in the past.
And with that, the fourth rotation comes to an end. So moving along quickly here at Rec Hall in the Big Ten Women's Gymnastics Championships. Coming up next, it's rotation number 5. We'll set the scene when we come back to Penn State. Three rotations left here at the Big Ten Women's Gymnastics Championships. As we move to rotation number 5, Illinois, Ohio State, and Penn State will have the buys. Michigan State will be on the vaults. Minnesota moves to the floor. Iowa on bars, and Michigan on the balance beam. Good shot of the crowd here at Rec Hall.
They've really been lucky to get such a great performance here tonight from all of the teams. Here's a look at Michigan State.
Michigan State on the vault in this rotation. This is one of their best events.
Kathy Klages, their coach, has been so pleased with the improvement they have made on this event. Handspring, tuck front, nice landing. She had a little bit of a form error in the air, but overall an okay vault for Morella Walls. She is the freshman. Again, you typically don't have your strongest athlete up at the start, but somebody that you know will hit their routine. Here is Janessa Greco over on the balance beam. She is a freshman leading it off for Michigan.
And she is the best freshman on this team. The beam is one of her strong suits.
Which obviously Bev Plocky has a great deal of confidence in her by putting her up in the leadoff spot. Nice switch leap to back handspring, swing down.
She's very solid on the beam and the floor and vault. Very good all-around freshman.
Yes, she is. She hasn't competed the bars much just because of the depth of their bar lineup, but she'll be looking to try to move into that spot next year so she can compete in the all-around.
8th on the floor, number 1 in floor and vault at the 99 Nationals.
Round up double full dismount. Great routine for Janessa. What a strong start for Michigan.
The freshman from New York. And Janessa with a big hug from the coaches and high fives from teammates.
Goes against what I was saying about freshmen and not necessarily being the choice to lead it off. She did just a great job.
You got to go with your best, and if it happens to be a freshman, let them get the team off to a solid start.
That's right.
And Michigan State on the vaults once more.
Here is Melissa Green again. She has been such a contributor for Michigan State this year.
Melissa Green wearing the green of the Spartans. Not a bad color or a name to have on the day after St. Patrick's Day. So Melissa has something going in her favor.
Yes, she does. Yurchenko layout. Again, very well done. It's only out of a 9.80. We'll see if she does a more difficult vault on the second one or if she just tries to make that one even better.
Is there a method to picking out routines, higher difficulty, lower difficulty, because you see different sorts from the various gymnasts?
Exactly. Ohio State's an example of a team that usually really likes to take the risks and get their routines out of a 10.0. Here's another example of Melissa Green's vault. Nice position in the air, nice landing. Michigan State here is choosing to do routines that they know that they can hit and, not make many execution errors. So we'll see how it all ends up in the end.
Vault number 2 for Melissa Green, the 5'4" junior.
Oh, she was a little bit high onto the horse, so she didn't get the block off that she needed, but at least she had an okay first vault.
Might have stubbed a toe or two, it looked like, when she came up short. Comes away wincing as she walks away from the vault after her seconds. And now over to the floor, and it's Minnesota. Megan Bukins.
There she goes, double pike, nice landing. Again, Minnesota is one of those teams that usually likes to go with routines. They know they can execute well, that they can hit and make very few errors. You'll see they'll have great form.
Bukins ranked second on the floor exercise.
Front full in the laid out position.
Megan also apparently taking note of Santana's comeback this year and employing his music here for her floor exercise.
Yes, she seems to get into this routine, as do her teammates on the sidelines.
She's 20th on the floor nationally. An all Big Ten selection on the floor exercise at the '99 Big Ten Championships.
She again has a great combination of terrific tumbling and great dance. Whip, 1.5, very well done. Switch side into a Shushanova.
Megan Boykins, the 5'4" sophomore from Brandon, South Dakota, a former Big Ten Gymnast of the Week this season, and happy with her results on the floor.
Yes, she's going to be extremely pleased with that one. That was a great performance, and that will contribute to their team score.
And now Michigan State back on the vaults.
That was a half-half front, a little bit low on the landing. It is a difficult vault, so we'll see what the judges do. That was Christy Linder. She's a freshman from Michigan State.
And now over to Michigan on the balance beam.
Back handspring layout, back handspring. Very well done. This is Shannon McKenzie. She's another example of a sophomore who last year had difficulty cracking the lineup because of Michigan's strong seniors. Worked really hard to make this lineup. Full turn, that's a required element. She does a front handspring down to one knee.
Christy Linder, by the way, a 9.65 on her vault moments ago. Christy only competing in the vault. She dropped a weight on her finger, fractured it recently, so has been some time coming back.
And the gainer full dismount, tiny little step. Nice routine for Michigan. Coach Bev Plotky looks excited.
Back to Minnesota on the floor now. The Lady Golden Gophers.
It's a double back, very high. This is Melissa Chang. She is a senior.
Melissa, one of the captains on this Minnesota club, out of Blue Springs, Missouri, just outside of Kansas City.
Interesting leap combination there.
Shannon McKenzie on the beam moments ago, a 9.92 for Michigan.
It's a great score, especially on the balance beam. It was a nice routine for Minnesota.
Melissa Chang satisfied as she trots away. The Minnesota fans very supportive as well.
Yes, very much so.
And Michigan State vault.
That was a handspring front tuck with a half twist. Again, that's out of a 9.9, but a solid vault.
And quickly we shift over to the beam. Once again, the Lady Wolverines of Michigan.
This is Karina Senior. She's had an outstanding year and has been competing in the all-around.
And this is one of her best events, a first-team All-American on the beam in 1999. A junior out of Ontario, Canada.
A handspring layout, step out. Slight balance check. Overall, well done. Double turn. That is so difficult to do. The beam is so small that you won't see many of the gymnasts do a double turn. You'll only see them do a single. Round up double full dismount. Nice routine for Karina.
And head coach Bev Plocky meets her to congratulate her. And Bev Plocky really has done a masterful job while at the University of Michigan. She's in her 11th season, but she really is responsible for turning this program around. We mentioned all the conference titles. They, in fact, won 6 straight Big Ten titles in the decade of the 90s. She's just done a terrific job in Ann Arbor.
Yes, she's done just a tremendous job. She really took the program over. It was at the bottom, and she built it up, and now they've established a tradition.
Michigan's 8 conference championships altogether are the most by any Big Ten school. And now Michigan State on the vaults once more. This is Elizabeth Forcia, ready to go for the Lady Spartans.
Handspring, pike front half, great vault. She got incredible height, incredible distance, and great form in the air. That's what the judges are looking for.
Karina Senior, by the way, for Michigan on the beam moments ago, a 9.8 as we take a look at the vault once again by Elizabeth.
What's the height and distance she gets away from the horse? Way up there. Small step on the landing.
Wendy, we've seen many times tonight on the dismounts for the bars, as we see Iowa right now, also the beam and the vault. We see those little hops, but many times it appears as though the gymnasts really try to hide them. Quick moves, bring the legs together, do anything to try to disguise the hop from the judges.
Yes, they do. Now here is Giselle Bonaforte. She is Iowa's top performer in every event. She was freshman of the year 2 years ago. Some interesting bar work there. And yes, on the landing, they almost hope that the judges don't see if they have a little step.
Back to Elizabeth on the vault, her second one, a rather clean one.
Great.
And now Giselle Bonaforte. Another look at her on the bars, how she finished up.
That is an uprising handstand. That's a D element. Into a giant. Into a double full dismount, looks for the landing, and finishes strong.
She owns the team record on the bars and the all-around. Missed all of last year because of a knee injury, and she contracted mono, so really coming back nicely this season after being named the Big Ten Freshman of the Year 2 years ago. All right, Minnesota now on the floor exercise.
This is Marianne Kelly. She's one of the super sophomores. Double turn to jump 1.5 down to a split position.
This is Marianne's best event. She tied the school record just last week against Iowa State. It was Minnesota's best team score of the season, even though they lost to number 10 Iowa State last Saturday.
Front full there. She has such great choreography in this routine. Interesting lead combination again.
Mentioned the super sophomores, Wendy, and just how good they are. Marianne Kelly actually broke the school all-around record a few months ago before another sophomore, Megan Buykens, came along and broke it not too long after that.
Exactly. That's almost unheard of in the same year to have 2 different athletes break the same school record.
But it's also very healthy competitively to have 2 gymnasts at the same level, both sophomores, pushing each other like that. And
yes,
this is
you're absolutely right.
Sarah Kane now on the beam for Michigan.
Now, Sarah Kane won the all-around title 2 years ago. However, she has had a fall on this event the last 2 years, so she's going to want to get that monkey off her back and have a strong performance here. handspring layout, back handspring, right on.
Champions always come through in the critical moments, so you would expect that from Sarah Kane.
Absolutely. If there's somebody that you'd want finishing up for you, it would be Sarah Kane. Nice aerial front walk over there. Required full turn. Just the grace and the poise she demonstrates up there is really unparalleled. She even manages to look like she's having fun.
Not an easy task.
Not on the balance beam. The handspring quarter turn, very well done. Holds the handstand. She's an extremely difficult dismount. It is a round off double back. This is again an example of an E dismount. Round off double back. Just a tiny little step. What a great routine for Sarah in the University of Michigan.
Judging by the response of her teammates, very satisfied with that routine by Sarah Kane as we go to Megan Buchans on the floor for Minnesota now.
That was a nice layout front full, the previous tumbling pass. Again, Minnesota is such a nice team to watch, just their form and how well they do the skills, each of the skills that they do.
Sarah Kane, a 9.95 on the balance beam for Michigan. Very good score.
What a great score.
And this is how she looked during her routine. Sarah Kane with a 9.95, and this is how she got there.
Again, look at the form in the air, right to immediate back handspring, right on. And that move earlier was the one she fell on last year. Here is the dismount. So difficult to do, and does it extremely well.
You would expect nothing less from someone like Sarah Kane, #2 in the nation. And that takes us up to the end of our 5th rotation here on the campus of Penn State. Only 2 more to go, so things getting tighter as one team will emerge as the Big Ten champion. Coming up next, rotation #6. Stay with us from Pennsylvania. Steve Schlanger with Wendy Wilkinson on a cold and crisp Saturday night in the mountains of central Pennsylvania. Penn State University, the site of the Big Ten Women's Gymnastics Championships. We have 5 rotations in the books, 2 more to go before we wrap things up here for the evening. This is not the end of the gymnastics season, in case you're wondering. We still have some more to go, which we will get to. In the meantime, the team scores after 5 rotations. #1 Michigan in the lead now, on top of Minnesota and Ohio State. Anything surprising, Wendy?
Yes, I think that Michigan is further out ahead than I would have anticipated. However, Penn State is one event behind, so it's difficult to figure out what they would be. Minnesota's having a great competition. Ohio State's up there. Iowa's ahead of Illinois and Michigan State. That perhaps is surprising. They were the lowest ranked team out of all of these 7 teams, so that is somewhat surprising.
In this 6th rotation, you see Penn State on the bars. Michigan State, Michigan, and Minnesota have the byes here in rotation #6.
This is Jennifer Drilling for Penn State. Nice form. It wasn't, she didn't have an extreme amount of difficulty in that routine, but she performed it very well. She had nice form and a nice dismount.
I mentioned still more gymnastics to come this season. Regionals will occur in 2 weeks, and then the NCAA championships 2 weeks after that. And now to the balance beam, and it's the University of Iowa.
And that's right. And these teams want to get a good score here tonight because it counts towards their regional qualifying score. How you obtain your regional qualifying score is you take your 6 best meets, 3 of them must be away, you drop your high score, and you average those other 5. That score is the one that will determine if you get to regionals and where you will be seated.
And this facility, Rec Hall, will host one of the regionals, so Penn State has more gymnastics on the horizon in just a couple of weeks. Ohio State now on the vault.
She goes Front, front. Again, relatively easy vault. It's out of a 9.80. Executed it fairly well.
That's Mary Beth Dorr with her first vaults.
Going back to Penn State hosting the regionals, they are really trying to move into the top 12. They're currently ranked 15. If they stay out of the top 12, 2 top 12 teams will be sent here to Penn State to compete, which will make their chances of getting to nationals that much more difficult. So again, they really want to get into the top 12. Nice reverse hecht there. This is Katie McAvoy on the bars. Oh, she touched the floor there. That will be a deduction. Probably a 2/10 deduction from the judges. Giant half, double front dismount. Very hard dismount because of the blind landing. She managed to hold on to it.
And now on the balance beam, the Lady Hawkeyes of Iowa. This is not a strong point for Iowa.
That handspring layout. She had a slight knee bend on the second leg, but she had a strong landing. Nice switch leap to straddle jump. Great amplitude on her leap. She showed the full 180 split position. This is Robin Gamble. She is a senior.
You can see the good crowd in the background.
Yes.
Rec Hall seats 6,846 and a very good crowd for a Saturday night.
That's right. They had a great turnout here tonight, and the fans have been in for a real treat.
There's a lot of attention on women's gymnastics in general lately, with Bella Caroli back now with the U.S. team, and it's also an Olympic year, so we'll see the U.S. gymnasts in Sydney later on this summer.
Exactly, and that really has a positive effect. Layout dismount. That really has a positive effect on collegiate gymnastics, just to get the excitement up for the sport, just gets the focus on these athletes, and that's just a positive thing all around.
This is Jenna Gallagher now on the floor exercise for Illinois.
Front layout, front tuck. Again, we talked about the bonus earlier. The 5/10 bonus that they need to get it needs to come from a combination of difficult skills, which are the D and E element skills, and also through special connections.
And now on the bars, Katie Rowland for the Lady Lions of Penn State.
She's been a really strong freshman. She's a candidate for Freshman of the Year this year.
She's won the all-around title 3 times this season, and a good routine on the bars for Penn State.
Great routine. Again, she's been fighting a back injury. You almost couldn't tell. Half front layout. That was an extremely great vault for Ohio State. Again, that was out of a 10.0. And this is an example, again, of Ohio State taking the risks. They're competing vaults that are out of 10.0, where some of the other teams were only out of a 9.8 or 9.9.
Take you back to the floor exercise for the University of Illinois. One more glance at Katie Rowland on her dismount from the uneven parallel bars. Former member of the Canadian national team. She was the national champion 2 years ago.
She was, and here's a double pike dismount. Very well done.
Good looking freshman. Now on the floor, it's Illinois.
This is Karen Hawley. She is a freshman, and again, she is also a candidate for Freshman of the Year. She was a Gymnast of the Week for the Big Ten not too long ago.
Their coach, Bob Starkel, puts her on a level almost with junior Phaedra Dixon, so it's pretty high praise for the 5'3" freshman.
Absolutely, and with a little bit of experience under her belt, we're only going to see better things to come from this young lady.
Katie Rowland, by the way, at 9/8 on the bar routine. Wendy talking about the U.S. team and the upcoming Olympics and just the attention being paid to women's gymnastics these days. Some people who don't watch gymnastics on a regular basis, maybe only get into it during the course of the Olympics, might notice some differences between what they see here at the collegiate level. But it's such a demanding training schedule for the individuals on the Olympic team. They basically give their lives over to gymnastics, while in college there are other demands placed on your time and also limitations on the amount of practice you can actually put in.
That's exactly right. The skills will be a little bit more difficult that you'll see at the Olympic level. However, it's really a treat to see collegiate gymnastics. We call it women's gymnastics, but at the elite level, they're often 14 and 15-year-old young girls. These gymnasts add a beauty element to the sport. And again, they're only training 20 hours per week. They have the additional demands of classwork and lives outside of the gym. So they really are able to balance it all. And
Ohio State on the vaults.
half front in the laid out position. Again, that's worth a 10.0. And that was Jill Tucker.
She loves the vaults. The Ohio native with some words of encouragement from her coach, Larry Cox, now in his 21st year as the head coach at Ohio State.
He's done such a great job with this program. He's really just raised it to a new level, and he looks to carry that out here tonight and on into regionals.
Karen Hawley on the floor for Illinois, a 9.77. And now back with the Fighting Illini as they continue in the floor exercise. Steve Schlanger, Wendy Wilkinson at Rec Hall in University Park, Pennsylvania. Now you may be saying to yourself, wait a minute, I thought Penn State was in State College, PA. Well, you're close. We're basically across the street from State College. So you're not as geographically incompetent as you may think you are. State College and the campus right next door to Rec Hall here in University Park.
We're watching Lisa Pellegrinetti here on the floor. Big smile. Smile on her face there.
Here's Gemma Cuff for Penn State beginning her bar routine.
Nice giant half. Healy twirl. Into a ginger. It's a 0.5 deduction, and also if you miss a skill that is a D element that you're counting on for bonus, you will not get the credit for that skill. So she's going to try to have an additional skill where she can get her bonus points, so she's at least scored out of a 10.0. But that's at least a 5/10 deduction.
And that's a tough fall for the best all-around gymnast on this Penn State team. She's third in the Big Ten. She'll have to get back on the bars. Meanwhile, we go to Lindsay Vagadez for Ohio State on the vault.
Half front in the laid out position. She's the two-time defending champion on this event, and that vault is an example of why.
She won the vault here when Ohio State competed against Penn State here at Rec Hall back in February, and going at it once again here tonight in the Big Ten Championships.
Gemma Cuff, that was a really impressive finish to her routine. She had another big release move in the reverse hecht, stuck her dismount. Here we'll have a chance to watch it again. Double pike, watch this landing. True fighter right there.
Gemma, the two-time all Big Ten selection for the Nittany Lions.
Here's Lindsay's second vault. She's gonna be looking for a stuck landing. Half front, nailed the landing. That's what she was looking for, very well done.
You expect somebody of Lindsay's caliber to come back with a strong second vault when the first one isn't up to their normal caliber. There's a second glance at her second vault.
Half, slightly pike position, and she sticks the landing.
Ohio State circling the wagons here in University Park, Pennsylvania. Lindsay Vagadez, a 9.9 on the vaults. And now Nikki Smith for the Lady Lions of Penn State, set to go on the uneven parallel bars. We saw Gemma Cuff fall just moments ago. This Penn State team has really overcome some obstacles this year, including a tornado in Alabama. They were down there for a meet. Were in the middle of a tornado, had to huddle in the bathroom of a hotel lobby to wait out the tornado.
That's right. It was a really frightening experience for all of them, but they managed to stay safe, so we're glad they're here competing tonight.
The balance beam doesn't look so imposing after you've been through a twister, I guess.
That's right. Nice straddle back to handstand. Nikki Smith is such a great competitor for Penn State. She's competing in the all-around tonight. Full in dismount. Very difficult. That is an E-level dismount, and she nails the landing.
She owns the school record on the bars, and you can see why. A very clean routine.
Here it is. Let's take another look at that dismount. So difficult. She does a double back with a full twist. There's the twist and the second summy. Nails the landing. Penn State did a great job on the bars. This competition is so close.
Teresa Erickson, meanwhile, on the floor for Illinois while that was taking place for Penn State.
Double back. That was the end of her routine. You see that double back at the end of her routine. That is so difficult. Most of the athletes choose to do that as their first tumbling pass because it's so difficult. To finish with it is extremely difficult.
Nikki Smith, by the way, the Mira Loma, California native, a 9-9 on the bars for Penn State.
Here's Phaedra. It's nice to see her looking relaxed, ready before she goes. You see some of the athletes look a little bit more tense.
After that 9-9 on the bars by Nikki Smith, I bet they all wish they could be California girls.
Exactly.
Carissa Erickson, by the way, a 9.85 for Illinois on the floor as Phaedra begins.
She has such expressive dance and phenomenal tumbling.
As you see, the school record holder, she set that record just last week.
Whipped to a double back because the height she gets on her tumbling.
Also the all-around school record holder. In addition to being an excellent student, she graduated high school in only 3 years.
That's unbelievable, especially with the time demands that a sport such as gymnastics takes. That was a front layout to a front layout. Again, the combination will earn her some bonus. Having some fun. Wolf jump into a Shushanova. Trying to catch her breath here as she gets ready for a tumbling pass. The routine is between 1 minute 10, 1 minute and a half, and it feels like a full out sprint for the full minute and a half. Double back. Again, finishes with the double back. That is so difficult to do. What a great routine for Phaedra.
And the crowd responds, as do her teammates. This crowd has been very supportive and vocal all day long here in University Park.
Yes, they have been. All of these teams are competing at such a high level. They've done a great job. They're hitting their routines.
This is Iowa on the balance beam. It's a big sports weekend altogether, too, here at Penn State. Both the men's and women's basketball teams are still alive. The men in the NIT tournament will play on Monday at Bryce Jordan Center, not too far from here. And the women's basketball team, one of the best in the nation, into the second round of the women's NCAA basketball tournament. They've got a game at the Bryce Jordan Center tomorrow.
Here's Angie Hungerford getting ready for her gymnastics series. Back handspring layout. Very well done. Slight form break on the knees, but she did that very well. Usually the gymnastics series we just saw, the gymnasts choose to do it early in their routine to get it out of their way so they can concentrate on the rest of their routine.
Phaedra Dixon, a 9.85, by the way, on the floor for Illinois. Hungerford, the sophomore, missed all of last year because of a ruptured Achilles. She's still not 100%. It's such a tough injury to recover from, no matter what sport you're in. So she's still trying to work her way back to 100% at this point.
She's doing a great job here on this beam routine. Switch leap. Intermediate back handspring. Again, that's the connection. Oh, slight balance error there.
Angie, the team MVP as a freshman for the Iowa Lady Hawkeyes.
Gainer full dismount. Nice landing. She managed to stay on. She was a little bit cautious at times, but they'll take it.
And this is how she finished once again.
And the gainer full in the tucked position. nice landings.
Now the tension mounting here at Rec Hall. That's because time is running out at the end of 6 rotations. We have only 1 left to go to crown a new, or perhaps a reigning, Big Ten champion. The final rotation from Rec Hall on the campus of Penn State coming up next on Fox Sports Net. It's been called the nightline of sports talk shows. Jim Rome interviews the biggest names in sports on The Last Word, weeknights at 6:30 and 11:30. Don't miss Jim Rome and The Last Word, only on Fox Sports Net. Well, we're down to the final rotation here at the Big Ten Women's Gymnastics Championships in University Park, Pennsylvania. This is the way the scores look at this point. Ohio State's on top right there, but explain the differential, Wendy.
Exactly. We only have 3 teams are finished: Ohio State, Illinois, and Iowa. So those teams are finished. Each of the remaining 4 teams have 1 event to go. So we can see of the remaining 4 teams, Michigan does have a commanding lead. Minnesota, Penn State are so close. They any 10th that they can lose or gain here in this event is going to determine the outcome there. And Penn State is a little bit further down.
For this final rotation, Penn State is on the beam, Michigan on the floor exercise, Minnesota moves to the vaults, and Michigan State on the bars. We begin with the Lady Lions on the balance beam. So can you ascertain some sort of an advantage or disadvantage to when your buys fall, Wendy? Some might like to sit out the first rotation, but then if you're a school that's already finished, you basically know what you end up with.
Exactly. Sometimes the hardest thing to do now is to be finished and know the competition is out of your hands. They can sit and watch the other teams but not do anything about it. And again, these teams, I think they still did have an advantage by starting on a bye. They were able to relax, get into the momentum of things. So I think that we're going to see some really strong performances here on this last event. What a tremendous start for Penn State on the balance beam. First girl up gets a hit.
And the home crowd erupts as a result. Check out the perfect landing once again.
Cartwheel, gainer full, the laid out position. Great routine. That was Katie McAvoy, the freshman. There's another look at her. Relief that that one's finished.
It's coming through in a big way when you need it most.
Absolutely. Getting congratulations from one of her coaches.
Penn State 8-2 coming into this Big Ten championship. Now Minnesota on the vault.
You were hot the whole time.
Again, we should expect to see well-executed vaults from Minnesota here. Maybe not the most difficult, but well-executed.
Christy Sellinger.
Oops.
In trouble on the landing.
There goes that theory on the well-executed. That was a handspring front with a half. It was out of a 9-9. Looks like she's hurting a little bit. Okay, we'll try to see what happened. She had a difficult landing. Didn't quite get enough lift off the horse and didn't have enough air time to complete the salto and the twist.
Minnesota, in general, pretty good on the vault.
Yes, this has been a consistent event for them, so that's sort of surprising to see the leadoff girl have that kind of mistake.
The Lady Golden Gophers with 4 Big Ten titles in team history. They will host one of the regional championships coming up in 2 weeks. And now on the bars, here's Eileen Cohen for Michigan State.
Hits the handstand. The judges are really looking for those handstands to finish right on top of the bar. Straddle Jaeger.
Eileen, a freshman from New York.
A little bit of form errors there as she was on the low bar. Hit handstand. Nice giant full to immediate double back. Nice routine.
Eileen is second on this Michigan State team on the bars. She was the 1998 high school national champion on the bars, the vault, and the all-around.
Here we'll catch the end of her bar routine. Giant full. And a double back.
Eileen trying to help the Spartans in this final rotation. Michigan State has never won a Big Ten championship in women's gymnastics. And now Michigan on the floor exercise.
Here's a look at Bridget Knably. Her sister Mindy was actually an outstanding gymnast for the University of Minnesota. I know Minnesota was disappointed when she chose Michigan, but she's been extremely pleased with her choice and has done just a great job.
Her sister, a student assistant coach at Minnesota.
Yes, that's right.
Bridget won the Big Ten title on the floor 2 years ago. And now over to the vault quickly for Megan Bukins for Minnesota. This just moments ago.
Here she goes. Handspring, front pike, great landing. That's the kind of vault we're used to seeing from Minnesota. That was out of a 9.9.
She has one more vault to go. And we'll go over to the floor, and once again back with Michigan. Here's Bridget Knably.
Watch her facial expressions in this routine. She really knows how to express herself, and the judges love it. She's one of the few gymnasts that is not afraid to make eye contact with the judges. Lay out full into a double back. Very well done.
Bridget, a first-team All-American on the floor last year. Out of New Hope, Minnesota.
She really has so much fun.
Wendy, we've really seen some great floor routines tonight, and a lot of people feel that the Big Ten Conference has some of the best choreography in the country, don't they?
Absolutely. Some of the judges have indicated that they are very, very impressed by Big Ten's choreography, the teams in the Big Ten, and just think that there may be no other conference that has comparable choreography. Many schools choose to focus on just the tumbling because that's where a lot of the bonus and the difficult skills come from, but it's such a nice refreshing change to see some great dance to go along with terrific tumbling.
And while we've been over here, Gemma Cuff on the balance beam for Penn State, a 9.85.
Again, Penn State fighting for every 10th. All of these teams on the floor now trying to have a strong finish. Great double full for Bridget. Very well done. Michigan's lead may be insurmountable, but again, Penn State and Michigan and Minnesota really fighting for that second place.
And Michigan not letting up. The gymnast that preceded Bridget on the floor, Missy Peterson, with a 9.875. And now we're on the balance beam with Penn State.
Oh, disappointing error for Penn State. This is Katie Rowland. She is a freshman. She'll get a little bit of experience under her belt, and we can expect to see great things from her in the future.
Big Ten gymnast of the week once this season.
Yes, looks like she's having a little bit of trouble regaining her composure. Punch front, very well done. Intermediate jump again, that's difficult connection. It's such a difficult skill to go right into another jump.
Bridget Knably reinforcing Michigan's position with a 9.9 on the floor moments ago for the Lady Wolverines.
Very impressive score for Michigan. Katie's having a strong finish now to her beam routine. So I'm going to try to have a good dismount here. Front full and a nice landing. Good for her. She finished up strong. She'll be back.
Only a freshman, so her best is yet to come. Now onto the vaults and the University of Minnesota. This just a minute ago.
Handspring front pike. Very nice vault. Little hop on the landing.
And this is Bridget Knably finishing up her floor routine.
Very good double full and an excellent landing. That's what the judges are looking for. And a Popanova.
Hard to find any cracks whatsoever in this Michigan presentation. They just go virtually seamlessly from event to event.
They really do. And again, Bev Clockey emphasized the team effort here tonight. 13 different athletes. All of them are doing an outstanding job. Here's Shannon Lancaster's second vault. Handspring pike front. Excellent. Again, out of a 9.90. Not a whole lot wrong with that one.
Worth a second look.
Here we go. Gets great distance, good height. Watch her form. Right there, legs together and straight. Sticks the landing. There in the...
This is Polly Kiker now set to begin on the bars for Michigan State and the Lady Spartans.
She is so strong on this event. The bars along with the floor are her favorite and her best events. And we'll go back to her in a moment. Here we are on the beam. Penn State having a couple of errors up there. Full turn. Switch sleep and a wolf jump. This is Ashley Wilson. She is a senior. Again, it's hard for these seniors sometimes to keep the emotion out of it, especially when you're competing at home. All of a sudden, there are so many memories. You want to remember every one of them. Ashley having a good performance, getting set for her dismount. Round off, back handspring, full twist, great finish.
As that was happening, Polly Kiker finishing on the bars for Michigan State.
Look how aggressive she is on this event. That was a Jaeger into immediate shoot over. She just does not hold back. Look at the momentum she gets going. Double layout, huge dismount. Again, that's another example of an E dismount.
The 5'2" senior from Colorado, a very good routine now to the floor exercise. And Karina Senior, the 5'1" junior from Canada, for the Lady Wolverines.
She is so exciting to watch on this event. She is one of their best performers on the floor. And we got to catch the tail end of it there.
Now Melissa Green on the bars for Michigan State.
Reverse hecht, very well done. Straddle back to handstand. Go back up to the high bar again. You need to go over the low bar 2 different times. Giant full. Giant. And a great routine. Good job for Melissa.
Melissa tied the school record on the bars just last week, but a very well-rounded individual. In addition to gymnastics, also likes writing poetry. And once again, a portion of her routine.
A dismount. And she nails the landing.
Now Sarah Kane on the floor for Michigan.
Sarah Kane is a beautiful gymnast to watch on this event. Her tumbling is so interesting and her dance is very expressive.
She won the floor exercise at the Big Ten Championships last year at Michigan State. Karina Senior, by the way, a 9.9 with her floor exercise.
Sarah Kane has had 11 perfect 10s. Just a remarkable accomplishment for a gymnast. 1.5 to a double back. Right on.
Judges don't necessarily like giving out those 10s, do they?
No, they don't. That's if you get a 10, you've definitely earned it. Here's some of that interesting tumbling. She goes from backwards to forwards.
And you see and hear the entire crowd here at Rec Hall. That was for a Penn State beam routine, which we'll get to in a moment.
Sarah's doing a great job on this floor routine. Getting set for her last tumbling pass. front full, immediate punch, piked front, and a Popanova. I did not see one deduction in that floor routine. What a great job for Sarah. Can see her teammates. They know that it was near, if not completely flawless.
Speaking of flawless, if it's not enough that she's #2 in the nation, she's also an academic All-American.
Right, she is such a well-rounded individual. That is something Coach Plocky also mentioned earlier. Just that she, all facets of her life, she excels in anything that she sets out to do.
Maria Taylor, moments ago, as we mentioned, for Penn State on the beam, a 9-9. And that's why the explosion from the crowd.
A 9-9. Such a difficult event to get such a great score.
And this is how it happened.
Here's her dismount, cartwheel, layout full, and a perfect landing.
And it appears as though Penn State, the only team still competing here in this final rotation on the balance beam. Meanwhile, on the floor, Michigan has wrapped things up, and they recognize that they are about to maintain and hold on to their Big Ten title from last year and defend successfully here at Penn State.
And that score of a 9.975 means that one of the judges gave her a 10. The other judge gave her a 9.95, so they averaged those scores. So one of the judges did think that it was, in fact, a perfect routine.
The Lady Wolverines, along with Minnesota and Michigan State, are finished on the other routines, and now it's just Penn State and Nikki Smith on the balance beam.
Here she goes for her gymnastics series by handspring layout, right on. We talked a little bit earlier, Steve, about how difficult it is when the other events are going on and it's so loud. Many people feel it's even more difficult when it's silent. There is no other commotion going on, so Nikki knows that everybody in this arena has their eyes on her.
At one point, she was #1 in the nation on the beam. Always presents a high degree of difficulty with her routines.
The handspring quarter turn right on. She's looking phenomenal up there. Extremely confident. Again, the silence in here just forces her to concentrate. Shows some incredible flexibility there. And here she goes, cartwheel, gainer full off the side. A perfect landing. What a tremendous job for senior Nikki Smith and the Penn State team. Oh, you can see the emotion on her face.
And the home crowd gives her a standing ovation. The 5'4" senior goes out in style. She owns the second best record in school history on the beam and a terrific finish to her Big Ten tournament.
What a great job by all of these teams tonight. Everybody rose to the occasion. Here it is. One judge has given her a 10. We'll see what the other one comes up with. A 10.0 for senior Nikki Smith. Absolutely incredible on the most difficult event, the balance beam.
Not a bad way to go out, and she draws applause from her opponents as well.
Look at that. Michigan is so supportive. They are cheering on Penn State. They can appreciate the difficulty of getting a 10.0 on the balance beam.
And this is the way it wrapped up. At least one judge thought it was a 10, and this is why.
Cartwheel gainer, full, perfect form, perfect landing. And they did award the 10, and she deserved it.
Couldn't ask for a better ending to her collegiate career.
Absolutely not.
Hugs from teammates, an appreciative hometown crowd. Well, the competition is complete. We'll have the final results after all 7 rotations when we come back to Rec Hall in University Park, Pennsylvania after this on Fox Sports Net. Welcome back to University Park, PA. The 2000 Women's Big Ten Gymnastics Championships have come to a conclusion. Steve Schlanger with Wendy Wilkinson, and to no surprise, Michigan successfully defends its title. And if you're looking for evidence to back up their claim as the #1 team in the nation, they not only win the all-around team title, but they also set a new Big Ten record with a score of 197.85, besting their own record that was set back in 1997 of 197.15. Wendy.
What an impressive performance tonight from all these teams, particularly the University of Michigan. They have been so consistent all year long. Some people were wondering if this was their time to maybe make a mistake. They rose to the occasion and had an outstanding performance tonight.
Michigan, no surprise in the #1 slot. Any other surprises from 2 through 7?
No, I think that really this is probably the order that would have been predicted. Penn State and Minnesota had such solid scores. That's really going to help them as they go into regionals, and that's going to be a real confidence builder for them. Ohio State had a strong meet. Again, Michigan State happy to be back in there. Illinois and Iowa are going to build on this momentum in the future.
Couldn't ask for much more out of Michigan. The target was on their back as the #1 team in the conference in the nation. Everybody wanted to knock them off, but they came in and turned in a stellar performance here tonight in the Big Ten Championship.
Yes, they sure did.
We're going to be joined now by Michigan head coach Bev Plotke, who has led her team to a successful defense of their Big Ten title from last year. And coach, I know coming in you had the #1 team in the nation. You had high anticipations for this meet, but did even you think that you'd set a Big Ten record?
That wasn't our goal. Our goal was just to come here and compete consistently and hit our routines, and we were able to accomplish that, so we're real excited.
Wendy?
What do you think was the key to tonight's performance?
Well, again, I think consistency. The strength of our team this year has definitely been in the fact that even if we've gone out and had someone miss, we've been able to come back, and the other 5 have confidence that they can do it. So, you know, not having to count balls and that kind of consistency and confidence.
Right. Congratulations. What's next for the University of Michigan?
Well, we're going to find out on Monday where we'll be seeded to our regional championship and hopefully qualify on to nationals and go for a title there.
I guess you couldn't ask for much more momentum going on from here in the postseason, huh?
No, we're real thrilled with our performance, and hopefully it will help us to carry another level of confidence into the postseason. Coach,
congratulations. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Head coach Bev Plotke of the defending champion Michigan Lady Wolverines. They win again here.